I apologize if that imagery is going to give you nightmares tonight. And also, I apologize if you hear a lot of background noise. There's a lot of construction outside my house, and I can't control that while recording this video. But anyway, we got a movie to talk about, so let's discuss. Smile 2 is directed by Parker Finn, and the plot of the movie is about to embark on a world tour. Global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. So I really enjoyed the first Smile movie that came out in 2022, one of my favorite horror movies of that year, something fresh and original. And I would recommend this movie a lot for people who enjoy a good horror movie, nothing too gory, but just has the right amount of scares. So when they announced that Smile 2 was in development, I was pretty excited. Of course, Parker Finn returning to direct this new sequel, Naomi Scott playing the main lead, and I gotta tell you, after watching Smile 2, I think this movie is great. I think this movie excels on so many levels, and I gotta explain why. Starting with the positives here, I gotta tell you, Parker Finn returning to direct this movie was great to see. I feel like he took all the good elements from the first movie and takes those elements into the sequel and just amps it to 100%. Whether it's the camera style direction that kind of feels very Sam Raimi inspired, to just exploring the story a bit more with this entity. Doesn't give a lot of lore, which is one of my little nitpicks of the movie, but I think it's enough lore to give out and kind of leave scraps out for people to dissect just a little bit, but still brings in the scares, the terror of this entity that really haunts this famous pop star. Even the sound design in this movie just really makes you feel unsettled. It just kind of like crawls into your skin within certain moments, whether it's somebody being killed, whether you just hear the ambience around a dark room. Even the freaking end credits music, which normally not a lot of people pay attention to as much, but what they do with that end credits music kind of implements a song and someone just hearing them in pain and torture, which made me just want to walk out the theater immediately because it was just a strange ambient vibe. And speaking of Sam Raimi, I feel like this movie has shades of Drag Me to Hell, a movie directed by him, and even the premise feels a bit similar to Smile and Smile 2, where someone gets cursed and they have to really avoid this entity before they die. I don't know if it's just me, but definitely leave a comment down below if you thought about Drag Me to Hell when watching the Smile movies. But I really enjoy the fact that this movie does take the same story elements from the first movie and brings it on to somebody different, not just like a doctor, but now we have a pop star, someone who is on the spotlight, really, right? Like normally singers, celebrities don't have a lot of privacy, so artists like Sky Riley, played by Naomi Scott, kind of gets cursed by this entity, and see her kind of just lose her mind, especially after going a traumatic experience, was an interesting ride. And my god, the main highlight of Smile 2 definitely has to be Naomi Scott playing Sky Riley. This woman could freaking act. I know she's been in some other movies like the Power Rangers movie, Aladdin, and I feel like in this movie she really shines within her acting skills. Like, this woman could freaking act. She brings in the trauma, the terror, the anxiety, everything that you want to see within a horror protagonist that is just trying to escape this entity, and Naomi just killed it. Like, I really appreciate this woman, and I really do hope that she gets some type of recognition, whether it's award season or just something in general. Same way that people praise Toni Collette in Hereditary, I think Naomi Scott should be appreciated within Smile 2. Now, if you're a scaredy cat like myself and enjoys a good jump scare, this movie delivers that all the way through, whether it's through great build-up and great tension. You could kind of see the jump scares coming from a mile away, but yet it somewhat just tricks you and you still get scared by it. And for me, who gets scared pretty easy, yeah, this movie got me good a few times. Now, this movie does play mind tricks with you, which I think some people are going to have a negative review on, which I totally understand. But for me, I kind of like a good psychological horror movie, and I feel like this movie does tend to really make you think a little bit when it comes to like what's real and what's not real within Sky Riley's mind. And I was just enjoying the ride, but I think towards the third act, there's a lot of questions that I don't want to spoil that people are definitely going to talk about and kind of lower their grade within this sequel. To me, I enjoyed the ride. I think it brings up a good conversation with friends to see what was really going on within a particular scene. But I kind of appreciate the art there, but again, I understand if it does bring in some negativity. And there's a lot of people who say that the ending is very mean-spirited, which I gotta tell you, if you're watching a horror movie, there's really no happy ending. There's no sunshine, there's no flowers being bloomed out. I mean, it's a horror movie. There's gonna be bad things happening, and sometimes some people just don't survive. It's a psychological horror, and normally within psychological horror movies, there's really no through line whether or not a character will survive or not. I mean, if anything, yeah, the movie does repeat the same beats like the first film, but I appreciate it in a way where it does have a different perspective within somebody else. Very similar to Final Destination, where we have the same premise, but yet each film has a different cast. There's enough lore that's given, but not too much to the point where it gives a lot of answers, but a little bit for you to dissect just a little bit. But by the end of Smile 2, I thought this movie is a worthy sequel from the first movie. Kind of brings in the psychological horror that I definitely enjoyed, keeping those same elements, but really pushing it to another level, whether it's from a creative difference, whether it's from a story perspective, especially Naomi Scott playing this amazing pop figure. It's a mindfuck of a movie that I could definitely recommend people watching, especially during this time of the season. And again, I understand the negative complaints that, yeah, it may feel like a rehash, but we gotta really appreciate it on a technical level and on a scare level too, especially if you're someone who does get scared pretty easy. That's why my score for Smile 2 is gonna be a 4.7 out of 5. It's definitely a high recommendation for me. It's a well-produced horror movie that definitely deserves all the attention. I think it's made enough money within the box office over the weekend that I think it's gonna warrant another sequel, and I did hear that they're gonna make more spin-offs as well within the Smile universe, so yeah, I'm all in, baby. You sold me. Speaking of sold, how much money did Voss Water make after this movie was released? Because my god, the sponsorship for Voss was just everywhere in this film. I lost count how many times I've seen Sky Riley drink a bottle of Voss, and I don't know, it just happened to be so perfectly angled at the camera where it does say Voss, so listen, hey, money talks, right? But those are my thoughts on Smile 2. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the movie, and what's your favorite scene within Smile 2? Kind of torn between the teleprompter scene or the choreographed scene within Sky Riley's apartment, where kind of homages to Red Light, Green Light if you ever played that as a kid. But that's gonna do it for me, guys, so have a great day. Keep watching movies, don't forget to smile, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care, bye-bye.